Hey guys, it's Terrence Duncan again. I just want to give you bits and pieces of our Operation Blue Memphis. Basically, um, we put a plan together for this opportunity that Memphis has as far as natural resource. The greatest natural resources, which is the groundwater that's right underneath the city, and also the opportunity for hydrokinetic power that's right there next to the city in the Mississippi River. And so we've been talking about just various pieces of that plan, kind of in these bite-sized chunks to you really just get the information out there. We just wanted to act upon, to be honest with you. When I've said in previous videos, I'm a native Memphian. I don't currently live in Memphis. I live in Texas. And but I'm born and raised in Memphis. My family lives in Memphis, so obviously I have a lot. I still have a huge stake in it. And you just want to see the best for your hometown and the people who you know and love. So that's what this opportunity has been about. Like I said, we want to share. We want people who wanted to get out. We have contacted several media outlets and just with the same information that we're coming to you, and so hopefully this will get the word out and people can start acting on it in a positive way to be able to help our the citizens in the community. And really it's turns out that this research into this project it can be beneficial not only for the city and the state, I mean the nation, and then the world. So Memphis has something that no one, they have an opportunity that no one else has, just based on where it is and just the blessing in the area. And I didn't know that. I lived there my whole life and didn't know any of this. And so just recent research, and there's a bunch of people that know this information. So I'm probably preaching to the choir to a lot of folks, but I'm hoping that it's acted upon in a positive way. So tonight's section is going to be about the hydrokinetic energy portion. I'm just going to share some information and just to get it out. Our last video, we talked about we spent a significant time talking about the aquifer, just ways to protect it, an opportunity to be able to protect it as best as we can, and just Memphis has a groundwater source like no other. So this next part talks more about the Mississippi River. Okay. It's a resource for hydrokinetic power for Memphis, and even it can be exported into a lot of different other places. So let's talk about the river. The Mississippi River, for those who don't know, is the fourth largest river in the world. It's connected to the Missouri. The Missouri River actually dumps into the Mississippi River, and it just makes it massive. And I don't have the dimensions. I guess I could probably do that in a later video. As far as the section that runs right next to downtown Memphis, it's huge, it's wide, it's deep, and a great source of untapped energy. So there's a vision that could, just in reference to thinking of turbines, tens of thousands of turbines that could be anchored in the bottom of the Mississippi, not just around the Memphis area, but just all the way through. And you'll hear a little bit later that they have already started that process downstream, down in the Louisiana end of the Mississippi River. And so, but the goal is to provide a gigawatt of renewable energy that can power about a quarter of a million homes. And that's just right there in the Memphis end, right on the Memphis doorstep. So now let's talk about kinetic energy. And I went over this, so I apologize for any redundancy. But we're not talking about that. When we talk about hydrokinetic energy and hydroelectricity as a whole, most people think of the dam technology. Well, we're not really focused on that. Today, 2026 and 2020, and even years back, there had been a lot of innovations made in river hydrokinetics. Okay, they provide a steady, continuous, and predictable spray. And I apologize, I'm reading some information and kind of talking at the same time. But they provide a steady, continuous, and predictable renewable energy source that, with limited land use, it doesn't require fuel requirements, and its proximity to the grid infrastructure, it represents just what is described as a value proposition to this renewable energy market. Let me continue. I'm sorry. Let me scroll down. This company, and later videos, we'll talk about the different companies that have looked into this river turbine technology. Like I said, one of the top companies that we'll recommend is already doing business in the Mississippi River downstream and already have the technology. So, but this company, Free Flow Power, they propose deploying hundreds of 40 kilowatt turbines. And these turbines are going to be about the size of a large jet engine. You attach those to pylons along the Mississippi River. And they targeted about 88 locations between St. Louis and the Gulf. And so Memphis sits right, obviously, in the middle of that. And in 2025, the Federal Energy Reserve Commission, they issued 11 permits and licensed 3 hydrokinetic energy projects. Again, when I talked about earlier, which means that this pathway, the regulatory pathway, is becoming more better defined. River hydrokinetics, like I said, is being looked at around the world. We mentioned this in previous videos. Various countries, Ireland, some of the rivers up in Canada. One of the companies that company in Ireland is also looking at the setup of river hydrokinetics in a country, one of the countries in Africa, Niger, specifically. And so all this information is available. You can check it on YouTube. You can Google it. But the technology has grown exponentially. Now, let's talk about those specific challenges. So the Mississippi is obviously one of the busiest commercial waterways. So if you put any turbines in it, they can't interfere with barge and shipping traffic. So this is what's listed at the biggest regulatory hurdle. Now, that organization I mentioned earlier, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, their job is to authorize and also regulate any hydrokinetic or hydropower projects. Their job is to issue permits, preliminary permits for any feasibility studies or licenses for construction. It's a long process and it's an expensive process, but they have to be included. Hydrokinetic, just talk this under the caption of water depth and flow. Hydrokinetic turbines, they require at least 6 feet of water depth, and then the faster turbines can generate the faster currents. Can generate more power. So if anybody from Memphis or been into Memphis knows that they probably in their lifetime have never seen the Memphis River stop. It's always been a consistent, strong current right around the Memphis areas. Coming up in Memphis, they would always say, hey, you don't want to get too far out because if you get in that river and you just have to, for whatever reason, it's just going to push you on downstream. So it's always been deep. It's always been strong right in that Memphis area. So the water depth and flow seems to be very positive for that. And then as far as the environment, at me as an environmental science teacher, this is important. Fish passage, sediment flow, and those ecosystems are extremely important. And so these opportunities or this has to be navigated. Okay, and obviously we want to invite all interested parties in the ecosystem of the Mississippi River underneath it, the banks, to kind of be a part of this process to make sure that we stay on track. So let's talk about the power export opportunity. Okay. So I'll be specific as, like I said, I'm kind of reading and talking at the same time. Tennessee sits at the intersection of the MISO. The MISO is the Mid-Continent Independent System Operator Grid. This connects power across 15 states from Manitoba, Canada to the Gulf Coast. So down in Louisiana, in my area, for parts of Texas. So Memphis has the ability, they could sell any excess capacity to this grid, the MISO grid, that would serve the entire Mid-South. We can develop pumped hydro storage using the river to store and release energy on demand, making Memphis a grid stabilizer, not just a generator. That's huge. I don't know. Like I said, I'm down here in Texas. A few years ago, we had a real issue with our power grid. And some unseasonably cold weather it put our grid at risk. And so what we're saying is this has an opportunity to stabilize that Mid-Continent Independent System Operator grid. Okay. Now, partnering with the TVA, which is a Tennessee Valley Authority, it already operates the regional grid infrastructure, and you eventually can leverage the Memphis port, which is the nation's fifth largest inland port, as an energy export hub. That means you connection LGN facilities and HVDC, meaning high voltage direct current transmission lines that can carry power over long distances efficiently. So again, that hydrokinetic energy generated right from our area can be shipped out, not only, I mean, nationwide, not to mention to other parts of the world. Now, when we mentioned in other parts of the world, global export of electricity itself, that's a long-term play. That's going to require submarines or cross-border HVDC cable infrastructure. So again, that's a little bit down the line. However, once Memphis is established as a clean energy manufacturing hub, um, then this is where this conversation leads to. Again, cheap, reliable, renewable power. That's what has attracted some of the companies that are there anyway. And so, in addition to our, our precious groundwater resource, so the opportunity for hydrokinetic power is exponential in Memphis. Now, in some of later videos, we'll start talking about those turbines. We'll go through each one. I didn't know anything about river turbine technology at all. So I'll do my best to be able to explain it. I'll reference some videos so that you can go take a look at it on YouTube or places where you can just take a look at it yourself. But it's a great opportunity. And I think the time to take advantage of it is right now. Now, I'll end with this. We're sending this information out. I'm not just putting it on YouTube or putting it on Facebook or social media. I mean, we've sent specific targeted emails to a lot of folks. We're in the media, in politics, and in people who are involved in this, just to let everybody know, like, hey, listen, let's take a look at this seriously because it's going to benefit everybody. And so, in other videos, we'll start talking about who some of those people are. And so we're hoping we have got a couple responses, but people just kind of say they're taking a look at it, and I understand. And I mean, who am I? I'm a guy sitting at a desk, so I can understand why they probably won't want to take it seriously. But however, I think this is a really big deal that Memphis take advantage of. All right, guys, I appreciate your time for this video, and any video that you take your time to look at. I apologize if I take too long, I talk too long, but I'm excited about this. I'm hoping that Memphis can take advantage of it. This will change the future for generations of Memphians and, the country, the nation, outside of the country. So at any rate, thank you guys so much. God bless.